President Trump has been on a crusade to end birthright citizenship for years.
Hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrant children are made automatic citizens every year because of this crazy policy.
And now, a political battle over whether virtually everyone born in the U.S. should be granted citizenship is about to take center stage.
We're going to end that because it's ridiculous.
Through executive action?
Well, if we can, through executive action.
Trump's executive order set in motion a flurry of lawsuits challenging his ability to make sweeping changes to birthright citizenship.
Sarah, let's just jump in with the fight over birthright citizenship, which is Trump went to the Supreme Court to watch arguments over his executive order to deny children of undocumented immigrants born in this country. He doesn't want them to have citizenship, even though they were born here. And things went awry. They did not work out the way he wanted them to. So what do you make of, first of all, of him even going there, which I understand is the first time a president has ever done that,
yes,
am I right?
That's right.
And what were your takeaways from the oral arguments that the Supreme Court did or had?
So the real question is which way Trump is going to lose, because there are so many options. He can lose on what the 14th Amendment meant in 1868 when we ratified it. He could lose on the statute that Congress passed in 1952. Really, there's...
Tell us what that amendment is.
So the 14th Amendment says all persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens automatically. Now, that doesn't include diplomats, right? They're not subject to our jurisdiction. They can't even get a parking ticket. But since then, we have had, everyone else born here is automatically a citizen. But Congress is the one who is supposed to put the 14th Amendment into effect. So part of the question of how he may lose, and I think this would be 9-0, is, Congress might be able to pass some law. We're happy to look at that someday. But a president acting alone cannot do this. So, we don't even care.
Yeah.
Birthright citizenship. You've been hearing a lot about this lately. If you've watched my show on Fox or if you've listened to my show on radio, you know all about birthright citizenship. In fact, I have spent 20 years talking about birthright citizenship. Last year, I spent several shows on birthright citizenship. So let's cut to the chase. What is birthright citizenship? It's a fraud. Is that phrase in the Constitution? No. Is that phrase in any statute passed by Congress and signed by any president? No. It's completely made up. It's a fiction.
Why they party? I'm in here grinding. Money I'm stacking. Why they rock diamonds? I can't relate to them. Ain't my chick calming. I set a goal for me 2 or 3 commas. 7 figures, 8 figures to 9 figures. On a slow pace to get rich quick. Same time we just think different. Cause when you make it, it hit different.
What it do, y'all? It's your partner Dale back in the saddle again for another edition of the Counter Move podcast here on Thursday, guys, at 8:30 p.m. I'm a little bit late. It's all good. Don't shout me down. Don't shut me down. But guys, thanks so much for your time. Do me a favor, guys, if you could. I'm trying a little something a little different. I'm kind of live streaming on Landscape, on a couple of platforms, as well as Portrait on TikTok. So TikTok, let me know how it's looking. If it looks good or not, let me know. But we're going to dive into it as best as we can, guys. But guys, do me a favor, guys, if you don't mind, like, share, and subscribe, guys, if you could, man. And there's a little bell, depending on what platform that you're on. When I come live, it alerts you. You come kick it with your partner. It is what it is, guys. Let's dive into this thing today, guys. Today, guys, we have a good session here, guys, all right? Number one, guys, today we're talking about, Birthright Citizenship. We're talking about that whole thing today, baby. We're talking about the 14th Amendment. We're going to dive through it, but we're going to look at it from a apologetic standpoint, guys, to be honest with you, because there seems to be some interpretation going on. And we're going to look at this thing from a hermeneutical standpoint, right? Precept upon precept. All right, we're going to read that thing, all right? Number two, the Supreme Court and Trump's citizenship strategy. We're going to go right into the Supreme Court and listen to some of those arguments, guys. Some of those arguments are kind of like, you're like, what in the world's going on here? Some will actually does make some sense. Lastly, we're going to unpack it together. Who is an American? What justifies being an American? This is going to be really good, guys. And lastly, guys, this is going to be a little bit fun. There's WrestleMania is going on this weekend. I'm a big wrestling fan. And main event Jey Uso went on Cameron and Mace's a show called It Is What It Is. And there was an altercation between main event Jey Uso and Cameron. It's funny. It's promotional, but it was funny, guys. And I want to dive into this real fast. All right, guys. But guys, here is the first thing we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about first, let me get to it real quickly here, the 14th Amendment. All right, guys, hold on. Come on, get off. Hold on. Oh, okay, my phone, guys. The 14th Amendment, guys. All right, we're going to dive into this real quick. The 14th Amendment, man. Guys, there's been a lot of interpretations going on about the 14th Amendment. Okay? The 14th Amendment. Okay? There's been a lot of debate about this one, right? And I believe a lot of individuals have said there's arguments on both sides. On the liberal side, they say that if someone comes across the border, right, and their 2 feet land upon American soil, and they have a child, right, what the liberal side says is that means just by that alone, we're going to walk through 14th Amendment in a second, that means they are a citizen, whether they came in illegally or not. Okay? On the libertarian and conservative side, what they say is this here. The legal side says is no. There is a jurisdiction or an allegiance component to the immigrant or illegal immigrant coming across. Their title is illegal immigrant. So if they're illegal, they're not citizens legally of the United States. So what they're saying is the jurisdiction or their allegiance is to another nation. Therefore, no matter what they do here when it comes to immigration, if they have a child or not, that child's allegiance or jurisdiction is to the country that the illegal immigrant is legal in. Does that make some sense, guys? This is really the main argument around the 14th Amendment, really birthright citizenship. What birthright citizenship really means, all right? So let's dive really quickly into the 14th Amendment. I'm going to bring it up on the screen. We're going to read it together. We'll read it together, all right, guys? And then we're going to come back to it at the end of the show to unpack it together, all right, guys? Let's dive into it real quickly. Here is, bring it up, the 14th Amendment. This is where all of the debate is over, all right? Give me one sec here. Boom. Here we go. Yeah, you can come up for me. There we go. Hold on one second. They got to be able to see me, baby. They got to say that. There we go. Now, let's make this a little bigger. There we go. Here is the 14th Amendment, all right? I'm going to read it and read it right here. I'm making it bigger so you guys can truly see it. Let me see if it works right this way. Nah, I like it the other way. Here we go. Bop. Here we go. Come on. There we go. Come on. Here we go. Here's what it says. It is not big. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. I want to make it bigger for everybody. Give me a second. I'll make sure everybody can read it. There we go. Here we go. It says this is the 14th Amendment. It is the first section. All right. Here we go. Let's dive into it. It says, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. Let me say it again for the folk in the back row, all right? All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. That is where the lion's share of this argument lies, right there. It's in that first section, right? And I'm not going to tell you what anyone is saying at all. We're going to look at it together. And what we're going to do is we're going to unpack it together to where it makes sense. All right, that it makes sense. So give me a second. I'm going to get to this first video so that everybody can look at it and make a judgment on their own, honestly. Okay? Give me a sec here, guys. Get to it. Come on. Okay. Now, here we go. I think this is it. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Boom. Here we go. Come on, hurry up. Okay, here we go. My phone is kind of tripping. Here we go, guys. My bad. Here we go. Bow. Now, let's look at the video. Here's the first video. Here is a video talking about, right? Talking about this birthright citizenship real quick. Here we go. Let's go ahead and share it real quickly. Here we go. Here is Vox. Vox came on and they actually made a video talking about birthright citizenship. And I'm not going to tell you what side of the aisle Vox comes on. We're going to listen to how they outlay the entire discussion. And then we're going to go over to the liberal argument, and then the conservative argument and libertarian argument. Then we're going to bring in two attorneys to talk about this type of concept, right, of birthright citizenship. And then we're going to make an assessment. Okay, let's dive into it real quick, and then we'll come back to the other one. All right, here we go. Let's get it in.
President Trump has been on a crusade to end birthright citizenship for years.
Hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrant children are made automatic citizens every year because of this crazy policy.
And now, a political battle over whether virtually everyone born in the U.S. should be granted citizenship is about to take center stage.
We're going to end that because it's ridiculous.
For executive action?
Well, if we can, through executive action.
Trump's executive order set in motion a flurry of lawsuits challenging his ability to make sweeping changes to birthright citizenship. And now it's headed to the Supreme Court in a case called Trump v. Barbara. Getting rid of...
I can say right now, when it says everyone, Vox needs to be a little bit more clear. This birthright citizenship is not for every American. I may be hearing it wrong, but I believe Vox is really meaning everyone that is here illegally that was born. If you came over illegally and you had a child here, I believe they talk about that everyone, okay? I want to make sure that I'm clear.
Birthright citizenship for a significant group of people would be one of the most controversial and transformative items on Trump's agenda. It's also blatantly unconstitutional.
Trump cannot take away someone's citizenship, period. He certainly can't do it through an executive order.
The Oval Office does not come with a magic eraser that allows the president to delete any constitutional amendment that he doesn't like.
With the stakes as high as they come, in this episode, we're going to dive into why birthright citizenship is crucial to the foundation of modern America, the agenda behind the Trump v. Barbara case, and what might happen next. This is The Docket.
So again, this is Vox unpacking or this whole citizenship thing. Now, I will say, when it comes to Vox, what they're doing here is, I think that how they are describing this initially, I got a little bit of some issues here, a little bit with it. You can tell that with the two individuals that they actually brought on immediately, that they are for birthright citizenship. And they are saying that Trump is trying to erase this. They say it's unconstitutional as far as birthright citizenship. So they're assuming birthright citizenship is in the Constitution. We're going to examine it today, right? Because they're saying that what Trump is trying to do is unconstitutional. Now, I don't think, that Trump is trying to use an executive order to erase that, because that action itself cannot happen at all, right? I believe his initial play legally, from a layman's standpoint, and I'm not an attorney, was to get this in front of the Supreme Court. And I believe he's come out and said that on camera several times, is his whole goal is to get this in front of the Supreme Court. That is his goal. His goal is to get this in front of the Supreme Court. And I could see how that could actually make some sense. That's his whole goal, is to get in front of the Supreme Court. So we're going to see how this goes. Now that is Vox. That is Vox. I don't know what's going on over here with, oh, well, is what it is. All right. Here we go. All right. So now let's bring in the arguments real fast. Let's bring in arguments real quickly. I'm bring in arguments real fast. First, let's go over, guys, real quickly to a very popular show. I'm kind of saying it facetiously. Very popular show called The View. All right. Some people called it The Spew. It's a lot of words. They come up, but they actually had an attorney come on, and from the liberal side, to talk about birthright citizenship. Okay, I want to get this from attorneys and not so much from documentaries. Let's bring in the legal eagles in to begin to reason together. Here's the liberal side of this argument about birthright citizenship. Here we go.
Right now, we're joined by ABC News legal analyst Sarah Isgur, author of the new book, The Last Branch Standing, a potentially surprising, occasionally witty journey inside today's Supreme Court. I didn't write this. Yeah. I think it's quite witty, but I can't talk to that. But please welcome Sarah Isgur. So, Joy, you start.
So, Sarah, let's just jump in with the fight over birthright citizenship, which is Trump went to the Supreme Court to watch arguments over his executive order to deny children of undocumented immigrants born in this country. He doesn't want them to have citizenship, even though they were born here. And things went awry. They did not work out the way he wanted them to. So what do you make of, first of all, of him even going there, which I understand is the first time a president has ever done that,
yes,
am I right?
That's right.
And what were your takeaways from the oral arguments that the Supreme Court did or had?
So the real question is which way Trump is going to lose, because there are so many options.
Yeah.
He can lose on what the...
Wow. So from the get-go, you hear her saying that he's going to lose. Like, that's, I'm trying to figure out how that makes sense to, from the get-go, show the bias. When, if you're an attorney, you may fall on the side of birthright citizenship, but the audience is wanting to hear the legal arguments behind what you're talking about, not so much the bias. But hey, I digress. Let's keep it going.
14th Amendment meant in 1868 when we ratified it. He could lose on the statute that Congress passed in 1952. I mean, really, there's...
Tell us what that amendment is.
So the 14th Amendment says all persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens automatically. Now, that doesn't include diplomats, right? They're not subject to our jurisdiction. They can't even get a parking ticket. But since then, we have had, everyone else born here is automatically a citizen. But Congress...
Stop right there. Let's go back real fast and see how she broke this down. And we're going to go back to the 14th Amendment. Let's go back real fast because we got to look at this thing honestly. Here we go. Let's get to it. Here we go.
Persons born in the United States, Congress passed in 1952. I mean, really, there's...
Tell us what that amendment is.
So the 14th Amendment says all persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens automatically. Now, that doesn't include diplomats, right? They're not subject to our jurisdiction. They can't even get a parking ticket. But since then, we have had, everyone else born here is automatically a citizen. But Congress is the one who is supposed to put the 14th Amendment into effect. So part of the question of how he may lose, and I think this would be 9-0, is, Congress might be able to pass some law. We're happy to look at that someday. But a president acting alone cannot do this, so we don't even care.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. So the anchor babies are the target of this mainly, right? Children who are.
So she's saying off the rip, and she actually correctly said the 14th Amendment. That first part, she did. I give it to her. She did. But I think she's incorrectly characterizing Trump's intention. The intention is not for a president to through executive order to wipe away an amendment. No, that was not the intention of Trump, in my opinion, and what he said on camera at all. In my opinion, what he's trying to do, he was trying to get this to the Supreme Court. That's what he wanted, 1,000%. But let's keep going. Now they're going to anchor babies. Now here we go.
Born here, but their parents are not citizens.
Are undocumented.
Yeah.
His executive order is so broad, it covers a whole.
But does that cover
lot of
Barron?
people.
That could cover Barron.
No, he's not.
No.
He was
He's
born here.
Yeah, so are these kids we're talking about.
He's an American citizen.
No.
His
His
father.
father's a
His
citizen.
father, not his mother.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Sarah. You worked in the.
Actually, his mother is an American citizen. She went through the immigration process and became a legal immigrant. She is a legal resident or citizen of the United States. Melania Trump is. We've got to be accurate. We can't be lying. Come on, let's go.
Trump administration, when Jeff Sessions was the Attorney General, what do you make of Trump's firing of Pam Bondi? He fired her the day after.
Okay, now they're going into the Epstein articles. That's not my argument at all, guys, on this. Let's go back real fast to this real quickly here. Now, real quickly. Now, let's go here to, now you've heard the liberal side. The liberal side is very simple. What they are saying is they believe that if you are born in the United States, you are a citizen. Period. They believe that. 1,000%. That's their legal side of their argument. And we're going to see if that's the case. But hey, let's dive into it. Now, let's go over to a counter argument to this, okay? This is going to be someone that I think is a extremely good. He's a constitutional attorney by trade. That's what he does. I think when it comes to this subject, I have never heard someone prescribe it like he did. This is a very good argument he's talking about. Here is Mark Levin. It is very clear. Mark Levin is a conservative. 1,000%. That's who he is. All right, that's who he is. So if that is the case, let's dive into it real quickly and let's see how he talks about this birthright citizenship. All right, let's go get it into it. Here we go.
Birthright citizenship. You've been hearing a lot about this lately. If you've watched my show on Fox or if you've listened to my show on radio, you know all about birthright citizenship. In fact, I have spent 20 years talking about birthright citizenship. Last year, I spent several shows on birthright citizenship. So let's cut to the chase. What is birthright citizenship? It's a fraud. Is that phrased in the Constitution? No.
So he makes the point. He said, birthright citizenship. I know it's just a term, but he's saying, is that term in the Constitution? That's a logically consistent question. Okay? Let's keep going as he unpacks it. Here we go.
Is that phrase in any statute passed by Congress and signed by any president? No.
So he even says, wait a minute, the young lady on The View brought up Congress too. So they're both bringing up Congress now. So Mark is saying, is there any statute that Congress has written and the president has signed that turned into law? Has that ever happened? The answer is no. Gotta be consistent. Here we go. Let's get it in.
It's completely made up.
Wow.
It's a fiction.
Wow.
The suggestion is, if somebody's here, a foreigner, and they have a child in the United States, are on American territory, they are automatically an American citizen. Where does that come from?
Ooh, good question.
Nowhere. And I'll give you some exceptions. If a diplomat is pregnant and has her child in the United States, that diplomat's child is viewed as a citizen of the country from where that diplomat hails. There's no debate. There's no argument. That's the way it is.
So what he's saying, which is logically consistent, he's saying that if a diplomat comes over here, a diplomat is someone that's not a citizen of the United States, okay, comes over here and has a child, that child is not a citizen of the United States, even though the diplomat gave birth in the U.S. It is the child is a citizen of the country of which the diplomat is from. That's what he's saying. Let's keep going, okay?
If a tourist is pregnant, say they're taking a bus ride on the coast of California, they want to see Big Sur, suddenly she has to give birth, they rush her to the hospital, she gives birth to a child. Is that child American citizen? No. And the country from which the tourist comes doesn't recognize that child as an American citizen. They recognize them as, for example, a citizen of France or Britain or so forth. So how could it be that an illegal alien comes across the border, they have a child, and that child's automatically an American citizen? Nobody, no court has ever ruled that. Nobody.
So he's even bringing in the judicial branch. And he's saying no court has ever ruled that. So he brought in the executive branch by signing something into law, the legislative branch by constructing the law, statutes, right? And the judicial branch in ruling on the interpretation of said statute. That's never happened when it comes to this birthright citizenship term. Let's keep going.
Nobody has ever passed legislation saying that. And yet that's the way it's treated. We're not exactly sure why. We believe in the 60s at some point, early 60s, maybe it was the Social Security Administration for ease of administering Social Security accounts, or somebody else in the bureaucracy made that determination. But it wasn't the body politic. And it wasn't the framers of the Constitution. So now what's happened is that you have a bunch of lawyers and judges and activists and Democrats and some Republicans trying to bootstrap in this notion of birthright citizenship. And they'll say, well, what are we going to do with all these people? They've been here for 1,200 years, what are we going to... So they make political arguments. Or they make policy arguments. But there's no legal basis for children of illegal immigrants being treated as citizens. Now they take this part of the...
So Mark is saying the argument has left the interpretation stage and went into a political argument stage. That's what Mark is saying. He's saying that is where it's resting at right now. That's what Mark is saying, guys. And I gotta say, he ain't telling he ain't lying. Right now he's not lying. I gotta give it to him. He's not lying, guys. He's not telling any stories. I gotta say it. Let's keep going.
14th Amendment and the jurisdiction thereof. The jurisdiction there. Remember, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments were passed to protect the newly freed slaves after the Civil War. And the Republicans controlled Congress for the most part, not completely. There was a change when Ulysses S. Grant was president for a period of time, but right after the Civil War, the Republicans controlled Congress, as you can imagine. The Union and the Republicans. We know the history of the civil rights law that was passed and preceded the 14th Amendment. It was a civil rights law that was the basis for the 14th Amendment. And why? Because then President Andrew Johnson, who'd been a Democrat and who became president on the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, he vetoed the legislation, the civil rights law, even though his veto was overridden. The civil rights law withstood his veto. The thinking back then was, well, we better enshrine this in the Constitution. Enshrine what? Birthright citizenship? No, of course not. Enshrine what? A focus on immigrants of any kind, legal or illegal? No, it had nothing to do with it, the 14th Amendment. It had nothing to do with immigration, illegal or legal. It had nothing to do with the birth of children from foreigners visiting the United States. Had nothing whatsoever. It never came up because that wasn't the focus. It's considered one of the post-Civil War amendments. So jurisdiction thereof, what does that mean? Does that mean the physical jurisdiction? It had nothing to do with the physical jurisdiction. What they said and what they meant was the jurisdiction thereof, that this person, this newly born child, had the legal jurisdiction and the allegiance, his parents, to the United States. The legal jurisdiction. That is, the children of newly freed black slaves were born in the United States within the legal jurisdiction of the United States. The legal jurisdiction of the United States. And that was the way the 14th Amendment was interpreted for 40 years after its adoption by Congress and ratification by the states. Then came a decision in the late 1800s involving a Chinese couple. One was a naturalized citizen, one was not. And they had a child. And you had these horrendous laws passed by Congress that were racist, anti-Chinese laws. And the Supreme Court didn't like it. So the question was whether their child was an American citizen, born of a naturalized citizen and a non-citizen. And the answer to the court was yes, it is. That still has nothing to do with the child of illegal immigrants.
Correct.
Remember, one of those parents was a naturalized citizen. I happen to think that decision was wrong. I don't think the Supreme Court will reverse it. They should. It's 130 years old or so, and it's wrong. But even if they don't reverse it, when people come into the United States illegally, there's absolutely, positively no precedent for that child being a birthright citizen. We don't hand out citizenship to children of illegal aliens as a birthright. I mean, we do, but we were never supposed to. Nobody even proposed it. But now they argue that's the law. And that's what the Constitution compels. It certainly is not. Now, I think what's going to happen here, and I want you to keep in mind, I'm doing this on a Wednesday, before the arguments in front of the U.S. Supreme Court begin. I think we're going to hear some of the commentariat, but maybe some of the justices, make policy arguments. Well, what are we supposed to do now? Birthright citizenship, we've been doing this for half a century, for 70 years, 60 years, 40 years, whatever. We can't really reverse course. How do we do that? We grandfather in those who were given birthright citizenship as citizens, but everybody to the point at which we rule it's not, is not a citizen? I think we're going to hear that. I think we're going to hear other policy arguments like, well, I mean, it's been our practice now for so long. It's expected. So isn't it sort of an implied right? It's just kind of different kinds of arguments that will be mostly political, dressed up as legal or potentially constitutional. Because if this decision is made based on the text, that is the original meaning of jurisdiction, if it's based on the history surrounding the amendment, if it's based on the history leading up to the amendment and that civil rights law, it's a slam dunk case against birthright citizenship. And then finally, I think some of the justices, well, they don't like being threatened. They don't like people with bullhorns in front of their homes, as in the Dobbs decision. In other words, they don't want history to write very negatively of them through the New York Times and the left, which controls so many of our institutions, and it's just easier to go along. So I think for some of the justices, perhaps, that will be in the back of their minds too. I'm hoping that birthright citizenship is ruled unconstitutional.
So it's very clear to see Mark Levin talk about the different arguments around birthright citizenship, and him saying that this is going more into a policy debate versus a legal debate, which I can kind of see that actually coming. And I'm not concerned. I'm not surprised. All right. So again, great arguments on both sides. Let's bring in a more kind of, he's a liberal, but he leans more libertarian a little bit. Alan Dershowitz, he came and talked about this as well, guys. Let's bring in Alan Dershowitz. He's a great guy. I mean, smart as a whip. Professor emeritus. I mean, he's Harvard guy. Let's see what he has to say about it. Here we go.
I've heard the word, James just said skeptical. I've also heard the arguments are quirky. Is this a case that the administration, you think, is arguing the right way? And is it winnable, Professor Dershowitz?
I think it's winnable. I think they're leaving out one very important argument, which the justices are leaving out too. They're leaving out Article 5 of the 14th Amendment, which says the following: the Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. It seems to me it's up to Congress to decide who is subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. So the amendment itself says anybody born or naturalized and subject to its jurisdiction thereof. But it's Congress who decides who's subject to the jurisdiction. So Congress could pass a law saying, you know, if a pregnant woman passes through Chicago on the way to China and gets birth pains and suddenly has to be taken off the airplane and gives birth and then goes on to China, and the child never touches the United States again, according to the ACLU, that person is a citizen of the United States. Congress could easily say that person is not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. Now, could it say that about?
Why do you think that?
That's a hard
they
question.
haven't explored that? Why do you think they haven't explored that Article 5 argument?
Because I think neither side wants this to go to Congress. I think the Trump administration wants the Supreme Court to hold that there's an absolute rule that says you can't be a citizen just because you're born in the United States. And the ACLU wants a rule that doesn't allow Congress to in any way interfere with birthright citizenship. So I think neither side wants to see Congress in this act, but it has to be. The amendment itself gives to Congress the right to implement this amendment, and it can do it in a way that makes sense. Look, birthright citizenship makes no sense at all if it's applied to people who have no connection to this country, who happen to have been born here, as many people are. So it makes sense.
Right.
What makes sense?
Hey, hold on. Wait a minute. So Alan is saying that, again, this is a former liberal. Well, he's actually a liberal. He is a liberal. And he's saying that birthright citizenship makes no sense if the individuals coming across our border illegally have no allegiance to the United States. That's what he's saying. But he's going to look a little bit deeper. He's saying that, hey, this argument, realistically, they're missing it, that it says that Congress should have. I'm going to read it real fast. It says, I think it's section 5. It says, you know what? Let's read it together. Let's read it together. Let's read it together for the folk in the back row. Let's read it together. Okay, get out the way. There we go. Here it is. It says, come on now, come on. Right, there we go. It says right here, real quickly, get it bigger for the folks back row. It says, the Congress shall have power to what? Enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. It didn't say the executive branch. It didn't say the judicial branch. It says the Congress. So what he's saying is this shouldn't be in front of the Supreme Court at all. This should be really in Congress, because Congress can then pass a law saying that jurisdiction means X. So I gotta say it again. The legislative branch is the laziest branch that I've ever seen. It's the laziest branch. They barely work. And they kick can things down the road. Like it's clear. Every congressional a member, whether it be Democrat, Republican, or Independent, should be saying, yo, the Constitution says that we, the Congress, has the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. Why is the president making any executive orders? Why is it's from the Supreme Court? We have the authority, not the other two branches. But don't no person in Congress say a damn thing. They lazy. They are lazy. So now they're forcing two branches that have, according to the Constitution, no authority at all to interpret what this 14th Amendment actually means. Not interpret, to enforce. Enforce. Well, you enforce through interpretation. Sad, man. But again, that is the reality, guys. That's the reality. Now, guys, let's go back real quickly. Get rid of this real fast. Okay, here we go. Now, let's go to the next topic, guys, real fast. All right, next topic is, hey, again, the Supreme Court and Trump's citizenship strategy. What's the strategy here? Okay, or the strategy of the legal battle that could redefine citizenship in America when it comes to illegals. We gotta be very clear, illegals. Okay, now let's bring in two legal eagles real quickly here, guys. And what they'll do is they will get rid of this social fast. Here we go. Let's see what they say about this real quickly concerning this here. I like these type of shows because what happens is you have two guys come on this, and I have another clip as well. Let's get into it. Here we go.
Attorney General and law professor John Yoo and criminal defense attorney and former state prosecutor Todd Shapiro. Thank you both for being with us here today. John, I'll start with you. The question of original intent of the 14th Amendment. This was drafted after a civil war. This was drafted as part of Reconstruction. This was drafted with the children of slaves in mind.
Presentation of the arguments. I think the point that you made that really explains this best is that this was an amendment that was passed to restore citizenship to the freed slaves, that the great stain on our constitutional history was Dred Scott, and which Dred Scott said that blacks could never be equal citizens. Everyone, I think, agrees that's the clear purpose of the 14th Amendment, and that what we don't know is what they would have thought about illegal immigration, because there was no federal immigration law at the time of the 14th Amendment. That's 20 years to come in the future, and what we're trying to do is sort of extrapolate and guess from what people said back then about what they might think about illegal immigration today, at a time when, and this is what Chief Justice Roberts' point was, when the exceptions under subject to the jurisdiction thereof at that time were very narrow, occupying armies, Indians, and children of ambassadors.
That is fair, John, but it is not hard to see, Todd, how this has been absolutely.
So what John Yoo is saying, again, a legal eagle, what he is saying is he's saying that, hey, when it comes to this 14th Amendment, it was for black slaves, for them to have their citizenship, because illegal immigration didn't exist back then. He's correct. So what he's saying is, based on this argument, on the interpretation of this, the only way you can actually rule on this is how it was constructed when the authors of the Constitution actually wrote it. So if that's the case, you got to look at the context of what they actually meant when they wrote it. What was going on during that time frame? That's the context, right? Who was the audience, right? Who are they writing to? That's the context of who they were writing to. All right, let's keep it going. Here we go.
Perverted over time, to the extent that, as we highlighted yesterday here on the Will Cain Show, you are seeing Chinese billionaires pay for surrogacy in the United States. 41% of surrogacy births in the United States are to Chinese nationals.
Wow.
Chinese billionaires could pay for surrogacy. Child is born on American soil, attains American citizenship, goes back to China, raised under the CCP, and can run for president of the United States.
Well, that seems outrageous.
That is a strategy that's been implemented right now because of this interpretation of the 14th Amendment. You have other countries and companies, right, taking advantage of a loose interpretation of the 14th Amendment. Let's keep going to it.
Outrageous, and it certainly seems against what any of the founders would have intended for this law and for the amendment. Certainly times have evolved and changed, as some of the Supreme Court justices pointed out to, and I would think that this situation with the surrogacy and these people becoming United States citizens is a perfect highlight of that.
It is, and it is a question, John, of whether or not the Constitution is fixed in time. And we have these arguments and we strive for consistency. The First Amendment didn't imagine the internet. That doesn't mean the First Amendment doesn't apply to the internet. But in this situation where 9% of U.S. births are through birthright citizenship, and you have these potentials for Chinese surrogacies, the question is whether or not the 14th Amendment's original intentions should have been able to anticipate these things, or are we neutered because they simply couldn't have imagined this? And by the way, listening to the justices, I do think that they agree with what you're saying, John. I do think they are agreeing with your perspective, Todd. I don't think they're prepared to overturn 100+ years of precedent.
Interesting.
I agree, Will. I listened to our arguments very closely. I didn't hear a sufficient majority say we're going to overturn a precedent that old. Even if they thought it might be wrong, it seems to me that they want stability in the law. I agree. I'll be the first to concede this creates poor incentives like birth tourism. And I think if we're not going to change the birthright citizenship rule, then the former prosecutor in me wants to go crack down on those companies in China. And there are companies in the United States that are doing this too, and prosecute the people who are misrepresenting themselves in their visas, who are saying, I'm here as a tourist or I'm a student, when they really want to come here and give birth and have a child that's an American citizen and then whisk them back to China. I completely agree. That's something the founders and the people who wrote the 14th Amendment did not think of and did not anticipate. I just don't think the Supreme Court's willing to take those consequences into account. They're just, as you said, Will, interested in what's the original meaning of the 14th Amendment. Did they see an exception to the birthright rule for this kind of illegal immigration that we're working on today?
Well, the realist in me suggests you are probably right. The intellectual consistency in me makes me ask, finally, Todd, I'll say to you, what did they mean then? What did they mean by subject to the jurisdiction thereof?
Well, I think it's pretty plain language, but I think that the definition of subject to the jurisdiction thereof has certainly evolved over time, where we're talking about something completely different today than what was decided back in the late 1800s as to what subject to the jurisdiction actually means.
Right. And it has a profound impact, not just on the citizenry of the United States, but the culture, the acceptance, perhaps even the interest in serving the United States of America. It literally can dictate the future of the United States. Todd Shapiro, John Yoo, thank you both for being with us here today.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Again, guys, a great legal diatribe there, guys. I like what I'm hearing there. Let's bring in one more thing here, guys. We got to exhaust everything here. This is a classic case, real quickly, of birthright citizenship, and we're going to transition over to another segment on this one because of the fact that this is a clear, distinct contrast between you have a liberal side perspective and a a conservative side. You get to see arguments live and in person, guys. All right, on the Megyn Kelly side. This was very, very good job by Megyn Kelly. But let's get into it, guys. Here we go. Let's get into it.
U.S. Supreme Court, before a Court of Appeals decision was reached, like that interim level. And today at the High Court, Chief Justice John Roberts, speaking of George W. Bush, he too was a George W. Bush appointee, seemed skeptical of the Trump administration's position early on in the hearing. Listen here.
You obviously put a lot of weight on subject to the jurisdiction thereof. But the examples you give to support that strike me as very quirky. You know, children of ambassadors, children of enemies during a hostile invasion, children on warships. And then you expand it to the whole class of illegal aliens are here in the country. I'm not quite sure how you can get to that big group from such tiny and sort of idiosyncratic examples.
There are those sort of narrow exceptions for ambassador foreign public ships. Tribal Indians is an enormous one that they were very focused on in the debates as well. But what I do is I invite the court to look at the intervening step, which is the enactment of the Civil Rights Act of 1866. And there they didn't say subject to the jurisdiction thereof. There it says not subject to any foreign power. Now, if you go back to Blackstone and Calvin's case, they say it does not matter if you are subject to any foreign power. If you are born in the king's domains, you have this indefeasible duty of allegiance to the king at any time. So there's a clear repudiation in the Civil Rights Act. The Civil Rights Act is this breakwater which makes it very, very clear that they are not thinking about allegiance in the terms of like British common law. They've adopted the Republican conception of allegiance. So it's from not subject to any foreign power.
So that's John Sauer, who is our chief appellate argument for the administration, and he's trying to keep Trump's executive order alive, saying, you know, if your allegiance is to a foreign country, because, you know, that's basically where your parents are from and where you should have citizenship from, then your allegiance is not to the United States. There's no question the administration has an uphill battle on this. I think most legal experts looked at the argument from the beginning and thought it wasn't going to fly. But as time has gone by and as people have taken a closer and closer look at the argument, I have watched as more and more legal scholars have said, you know what, they could be onto something. They actually could be onto something. But to say that the overwhelming weight of legal scholars is on the side of the administration would be to mislead you. It's not. And today at the High Court, so far, I mean, what we've been hearing, I haven't listened to the entire argument myself, but the reports from reporters I trust who cover the court have suggested we have a very, very skeptical bench looking at Trump's argument. Joining me now, our favorite legal analysts on things like this, and I care about their opinions more than I care about anybody else's on this, and that includes Article 3 Project and founder Mike Davis and MK True Crime host, former Palm Beach County prosecuting attorney Dave Ehrenberg. Think about this. In 2006, $20,000 equaled roughly 33 gold group.
All right, quick 1 second, guys. This is a here we go.
And text MK to 989898 today. Guys, welcome back. So let me start with you on it, Mike. How do you think it went?
Well, if the justices do their job and follow the very simple law, this executive order should be upheld. The issue is that there's this whole thing called politics. And I am concerned after listening to today's oral arguments that these justices didn't wear their robes today. They wore their capes today. Because it is very clear that birthright citizenship was included in the 14th Amendment to fix the Dred Scott decision, the Supreme Court decision that said that the children of the freed slaves are not American citizens. And you have to ask, why the hell did we fight a civil war? And so we had the Dred Scott decision. Just about a year later, we enacted the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments to free the slaves, provide equal protection and due process to the slaves, voting rights to the male slaves. That was extended in the 19th Amendment to the female Black Americans, but part of the 14th Amendment provided birthright citizenship to the freed slaves and their kids. And there's a key phrase in there that says subject to the jurisdiction. And as they talked about,
14th Amendment basically says you have to be born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof.
Yeah, you have to be both. It's not just one, you have to be both. And there is a key meaning to that. Subject to the jurisdiction means you have allegiance to the United States. And this is the dispositive question that these Supreme Court justices need to answer. The Supreme Court previously held that American Indians were not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, meaning they did not get birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. Congress later fixed that and gave birthright citizenship to American Indians through statutes. So ask these justices this dispositive question. If American Indians did not have birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment, how the hell would illegal aliens? And the answer is simple. They do not.
Here's how Justice Clarence Thomas, raised this issue in discussing it with the ACLU. They're obviously on the other side. Their litigator, Cecilia Wang. Listen to Clarence Thomas get into that, SOT 4.
There are 5 exceptions to citizenship that you do accept.
Yes, depending on how many you count, Justice Thomas, how you count them.
What is the underlying rule of law that you use to connect these 5 exceptions?
Sure. So, as I just said, all of the exceptions involve situations where that U.S.-born child is not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States.
And the one I think that's the easiest to understand, Dave, is the children of diplomats. Like a diplomat comes over here from Saudi Arabia or the UK, and we've all seen this happen, like in the movies. If they commit a crime, they run a red light, they can't get a ticket because they've got diplomatic immunity. They're not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. They may live here and they may have a baby here, but that baby will not be an American citizen. If it's 2 diplomats from the UK, it will be a UK citizen. It will not be an American citizen. And that's because of subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And the Trump administration is trying to argue the children of 2 people who are here illegally is the same as that child of the diplomat. And the ACLU says that's not correct. And I think you agree with the ACLU. So can you explain why it's not the same?
Megan, good to be back with you and Mike. And my belief is that if you want to change the 14th Amendment, pass an amendment to do so. You can't do it through executive order. And to address yours and Mike's point about the Dred Scott case, Mike is right that the impetus for the 14th Amendment was the Dred Scott decision. But the text that they wrote, and this addresses your point too, Megan, was intentionally broad. They didn't write, all former slaves shall be citizens. What they wrote was, all persons born or naturalized. And the 14th Amendment's framers were smart enough to use the word persons, not former slaves. And so if we only applied constitutional amendments to the specific people they were intended to protect, the 14th Amendment wouldn't protect anyone today. And so there's a case on point. The Supreme Court back in the 19th century, and that Wong Kim Ark case, they already addressed this argument. And by the way, that court back then wasn't a liberal court. That's the same court around the same time that enacted Plessy versus Ferguson, which is separate but equal.
I don't know if you got to my question about why aren't the kids of illegals the same as the kids of diplomats?
Well, are you? I'm a little confused with the question, because are you saying that you mean political allegiance? So if you are, you have to say that they're
not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Like I'm just saying this is what the argument is. The argument is that you can understand it simply when you think about the diplomats, right? They're not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. They're not. They don't have to abide by our laws here. It's basically a way of honoring the king of another country, saying you've got the allegiance there, that the kings aren't going to send their emissaries over here if they have to be subject to the jurisdiction of American laws. That was kind of why diplomatic immunity started. So, like, it would make sense to me that 2 diplomats having a baby on U.S. soil would not be an American citizen. No one's ever submitted to the jurisdiction of the United States. And what the Trump administration is saying is the kids of illegals are the same because those parents are kind of in a similar position to the diplomats.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from, Megan. And the reason that children of foreign diplomats are treated differently is that their parents carry that diplomatic immunity. They're literally outside the law. This is different than if a child of someone who's undocumented commits a crime. They're subject to the laws. They're going to be arrested. So I think you're dealing with apples and oranges here.
How about that, Mike?
Well, and here's the question that Dave needs to answer. You said the 14th Amendment applies to all persons. How come the 14th Amendment didn't apply to American Indians?
Ooh.
Okay, you're talking about, there was that case, that Elk case, right? Is that the one you're talking about? Is it Wilkins v. Elk? That's the right. Yep. Well, that was from 1884. Here's the reason. That's because Native Americans were considered members of sovereign independent nations, and that existed outside the U.S. legal system at the time. They were like foreign diplomats living in their own embassies, and that's why they needed a separate act of Congress. That's the act you referred to, the 1924 Indian Citizenship Act. So that's different. So an undocumented immigrant living in our community isn't a member of a sovereign tribal nation exempt from U.S. taxes or laws. They're fully subject to our laws every single day. They can be arrested. They don't need a separate law to make them subject to the laws of our country.
Thanks for watching this clip.
Man, there's another clip of them really going at it there. And it was a very good exchange, guys. Real quickly here, guys. Let's transition real quickly over to the hermeneutical side real quickly. All right, guys. Let's read this real quickly, because what happens is, what I'm kind of seeing is there is a discussion or a conflict around the word jurisdiction, right? That's where it seems to be a lot of this. Now I'm going to use it from a hermeneutical standpoint. The reason being is because of the fact that I think that it would be wise to do it this way. All right. So let's read this together. All right. Let's read it together. Here we go. Come on. Here we go. Now, up to the top. I think Mike Davis said it best. He said it best. He says, all persons born or naturalized. Okay. So all persons born, right, or naturalized in the United States. Stop. It's very clear. It says all persons born or naturalized in the United States. So we got to rest there for a second. Then there's a comma. Then it says and, which means you have to also have what's coming next. Okay? All right, let's walk through it. And subject to the jurisdiction thereof, right, are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. So it can't be one, and that's it. It's 1 and 2. So it's all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Now, why I'm doing it this way? Very simple. Let's go to the scriptures. All right, to the scriptures. All right. This is Romans chapter 9. Chapter 10, verse 9. I'm looking at it from a hermeneutical standpoint. This is Romans 10:9. If you declare, if you declare with your mouth, Jesus is Lord, and that means also what's coming next, believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. You have to do both of these, not just one, both, because that's why the and is there. It connects the two. Now let's go back over here. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and connected, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. So it can't be one, it has to be, those two are connected to equal. So it's 1 + 1 = 2. That's all it is. Just like in Romans 10:9, right? 1 + 1 = 2. We will be saved. All those are together. That's the equation there. It's real simple. Now, let's go back. Let's look up real time what the word in the context, not today, in the context, right, of jurisdiction. So that's what does the, I'm looking it up live. What does the word, here we go, I'm just gonna paste it. Paste. Jurisdiction. Let's see. All right. Let's go here. Let's see. Jurisdiction. This is off of DuckDuckGo, but I go to Google in a second. It says, you know what? Let's go to Merriam-Webster. Let's see what Merriam-Webster says. Jurisdiction is a noun. It's a noun. Jurisdiction. This is what it means. It says the power, right, or authority to interpret and apply the law. Jurisdiction. The authority of a sovereign power to govern or legislate. The power or right to exercise authority. The limits of or territory within which authority may be exercised. Now, why am I reading this for? It says the power, right, or authority to interpret the law. That's not that one. So that's a matter that falls within the court's jurisdiction. Let's talk about a court of law. Okay. Now, it says the authority of a sovereign power to govern or legislate. The power or right to exercise authority, gets control. Right? Now let's go to 3. It says the limits or territory within which authority may be exercised. So this is looking at more of territorial type of scenarios. So therefore, if it says jurisdiction and it's talking about a territory, it's saying the limits or territory in which, hold on one second. No, then typer. No. Gotcha. Let's go 2. I think 2 and 3 say 2 and 3 kind of work together. It says the authority of a sovereign power to govern or legislate. Right? The power or right to exercise authority. Control. So then it goes to territories. The limits or territory within which authority may be exercised. So what's happening is you have an illegal immigrant coming across the southern border, across our borders, illegally. Off the rip, a law has been broken. They've broken a law, right? So therefore, if they've broken the law, there's no allegiance to a territory that they are now claiming to, hey, I have jurisdiction. Here's the problem with that. It's jurisdiction from this one comes from the authority or a sovereign power to govern. If a illegal immigrant walks across the border, they don't have the authority or power to determine their jurisdiction. They can't do that. Only the territory can say that. Now, if that is the case, right, you have to go to, okay, back then, what did the writers of the Constitution, the 14th Amendment, what did they mean by this? Well, it's fairly simple. As Mark Levin talked about, the 14th Amendment was made for what? Black slaves, because of the Dred Scott dreadful ruling, right? The Dred Scott ruling, and I'm summarizing, was basically saying that black people could not be citizens. It's a racist law. So the 14th Amendment said, no, we're going to go ahead and take care of this right now. So at the time of them writing this amendment, right, at the time of writing this amendment, to be honest with you guys, there's no way at all that it had been intended to be for illegal immigrants. Because why? They didn't exist at that time frame. So the question is, how did this birthright citizenship precedents come in? It was smuggled in to the political discussions. As Mark said, which I agree, legally, there's no law that was drafted by Congress. And Article 5 of Amendment 14th Amendment says that Congress has the sole authority, right, in basically determining what these words mean. Congress does. So there's been no legislative law written by Congress, no law signed into law, no statute signed into law by the president, executive branch, and there's been no court case, no judge ever that's ruled on this. So how did birthright citizenship come into play? Where did it come from? I believe Mark had it right. And was it made up? Because I can't point to any legislative statute, executive order, which you can't really look at that. But I said executive, I would say statute from the legislative branch. That statute signed into law by the executive branch, right? And a court case. Nothing. There's nothing on the books. So where did this argument come from? It looked like it had been made up out of whole cloth. So now what's happening is the questioning that was coming from the U.S. Supreme Court was more so about policy, not so much the law, the interpretation of the law. No. These were policy questions. And policies go with the executive branch. Right? That's what goes on here. This is not hard to understand. But because, let's go back here. Because, right? Go down here. Congress has power to enforce because Congress has purposely, where am I going to it? Where am I at? Has purposely not done their job, guys. We're in this mess. This is Congress's fault. Not the president, no matter Democrat or Republican, not the judicial branch. Congress has the sole authority to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. So what the Supreme Court should be saying is, hey, this is not an executive branch issue. This is not a judicial branch issue. This is a congressional issue. Because birthright citizenship makes no sense. Alan Dorsey said it. If the illegal immigrant has no allegiance to the United States, it didn't make any sense at all. That's why I believe the lion's share of this discussion is around policies, because all parties know this. But it's a big mess. Now, in my opinion, how should this be ruled in, guys? Real quickly. How should this be ruled in? In my opinion, what should we do? What's the counter move here, guys? Number one, Congress, get off your ass and work. Define jurisdiction. Debate it. In the House and the Senate. Get off your ass and work. Stop being scared. Work. Take more vacations than anybody I've ever seen in my life. Work. Do your job. Number two, I think what President Obama did with DACA, as he said on camera, was illegal. It was unconstitutional. It was unconstitutional. It was. But we're here now. And because of Congress not doing its job, and I'll say executive branches sticking their nose in what they didn't do to stick their nose in, guys, it became a problem. It's a mess. So what should we do as a solution? Number one, if any illegal immigrant is here paying taxes, you need to make them citizens. You can't take someone's money and then kick them out. Oh, no. No. You got to make the best out of the situation. You could actually put in some metrics and say, okay, you're paying taxes via your Social Security number or your TIN number, I-10 number. Okay, no problem with it at all. You can continue to pay taxes and become citizens, but you cannot vote until you go through the citizenship process. You see what I'm saying? Of going through that whole process and make sure that you have an allegiance to the United States. That's what I would do. Get them citizenship, but they can't vote. That's what I would do. Period. You're trying to make the best out of the situation, but put in some milestones in place that they have to meet in order for them to be able to gain their voting rights. Any voting rights, not theirs, but any voting rights. Okay? Because they have to pledge allegiance to the U.S. Okay? That's how I would do it. If you're taking their money, you gotta kind of grandfather them in with some guardrails. Okay? That's what I would do. That's what I would do. And that's easy. Get some of the most high-powered immigration attorneys together, with Congress, executive branch. Y'all come up with a deal. Okay? Come up with a deal. Buy some pizzas, some salads, some beers, some lemonade, whatever y'all want to drink on, something, and come up with a deal. Work! Jeez. Work! You have your asses in work, Congress. God, y'all quick to get on the damn camera, but slow to work. God damn. That's what I would do starting off. Is I would give them citizenship with guardrails and put milestones in place for them to earn the full citizenship. Okay? That's what I would do. Now, that was a long one, guys. That's a long one. Now, guys, I gotta bring this in, guys. I gotta bring this in. This is really funny to me, guys. Hold on one sec here. I think this is gonna be funny. I think you guys are gonna like this. So, here we go. All right, guys. As you guys know, I'm a big wrestling fan. I've been fans for a long period of time. Don't shout me down. But man, Cameron and Mace, they have a show that's very popular called It Is What It Is. It's a podcast. They invite on several guests. They invited on Main Event Jey Uso. Okay? And I would have to say it was extremely funny what I saw. I'm going to play a shortened version of it, guys. I think it was great promotion, but it was very funny what actually happened, guys, and I want to walk through it real fast. It's just funny, y'all. I'm sorry, it's funny, y'all. It's really funny. But here is Cameron. I'm trying to see if I can get it a little bigger. I'm take this off real fast. This is Cameron and Main Event Jey Uso, guys. It's very funny, and just watch how the exchange. Again, WrestleMania is this weekend. All right, now we'll be tuning in. Huge wrestling fan, but here we go. Let's dive into it. Here we go.
Man, what's up? Hey, y'all all right? Yeah, everything good, man. Everything good. Man, what up? No, I'm just excited to have you here, man. I was happy to come in here too, man. Y'all good in here? Yeah, everything good, brother. Everything good, man. Mace, you want to start?
Are you good?
What up, Mace? Yeah, man. Feel something over here. No, we good. We good? Man.
It's like tense. Family being like wrestling royalty in Samoa, where you think you ranking it?
I wouldn't say I'm above like the Roman Reigns.
Yeah, because you're not.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
That's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
Where you think you rank? Just where you think you rank? You think you above The Rock?
We ain't got time for no lies, Oos.
Nah. He's box office draw. What's up?
This is not the show for this, Philip. This is not the show.
Damn, Moose.
No, everything I am. Look, anybody ever tried you in public?
Like how?
Like they seen you and tried you in public?
Yeah, they have, Moose.
Yeah. How'd it go?
You good?
Yeah. Let's go. Let's get to WrestleMania, because
Any more questions, Zeus?
Yeah, no, aren't you a big Cameron fan? Like, you're a fan of Cameron, right?
Man.
Like, you're a fan of his music and Mace and
Jim
like.
Jones was number one whole time anyway. You know what I'm saying? Well, where you rank yourself, Zeus?
What you think about these YouTubers coming into your space?
They can get slapped too. Yeah. You want to try?
You talking to me?
Damn.
Listen, yeah, no, it's all good. Well, listen, Mace, I don't have any more questions. Nick, I'm more mad at you because you keep bringing Saturday WrestleMania niggas here, and you don't bring us a Sunday WrestleMania.
Say less, Cam. I ain't got to be
talking to my
here.
producer, bro. You keep bringing Sunday. I need a Sunday WrestleMania. I don't smell what the oos is cooking, and at the end. He tripped.
As y'all can see, all right, y'all. Okay, that was funny, big guys. Let's go ahead and see what Cameron looked like, y'all. After that altercation, real fast, y'all. Here we go. Here's what Cameron looked like after the altercation. I want y'all to see this in real time because it was hilariously funny. What actually happened? This was promotion, a brilliant promotion. Here's what Cameron. This is after the altercation. Here's what Cameron looked, y'all. After this, here we go.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is. This is a really fascinating.
Look at Cameron. Cameron done lost. Like man, Cameron just went through a battle, and he lost. Let's keep going. Here we go.
First segment to the show.
Where was you at, bro?
I came over there.
All right. I ain't say you done, bro. I just, my bad.
He didn't come over there. He also called security.
I was the one that grabbed him.
All right, my bad.
I was the one that grabbed him.
That's why I still love you. I'm just I ain't see nobody. You know when you don't see nobody. I couldn't see when nobody was. You know how you looking for somebody to blame.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
He kind of got.
Yeah, poor Cameron, bro. Cameron, man. Hey, pimp. This is probably promotion, but big dog. Like you was disrespectful to a wrestler. I mean, yeah, wrestling is performance art, but there is some physicality to that thing, big dog. So hey, man, you may want to be a little careful who you invite onto your show and how disrespectful you are, dog. Guys, the whole segment, guys, was hilarious, doc, because Cameron, man, was mad disrespectful to main event Jey Uso, and Jey Uso wasn't trying to hear it, doc, at all, bruh. I mean, at all, y'all. I want y'all to see this real quickly. Let's go back real fast, man, to the end of this thing. Here we go. Here it is.
What do you think about my father?
great, legend, all time.
Let's go back.
Man, I just be that's from throwing up, bust 'em up days, right? Like that's in the backyard. half that stuff is what we do. Grew up breaking coffee tables, didn't even know, man, holes in the wall. It just is what it is, man. I grew up in a house with 4 boys. You know, you got brothers, Zeus? Yeah, you grew up with some sisters.
I'm my only child.
What a pink
Do my dirt by my lonely. I ain't got a tag team partner.
Damn.
World champion Dolo on my hood.
What do you think about my father?
Great. Legend. All time. Top of the line, bro. I just was wondering what happened after.
What do you mean?
He's there. Rock, the whole family. The whole family's great. Then we got shit. Like, shit. What happened? What happened to you?
I'm out.
Well, where you?
I'm out, dude. You being real disrespectful, bro. I don't know if you're reading a lot of this social media shit, all the likes, dislikes, all that, but you rubbing me the wrong way a little bit, I didn't expect this. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so when it comes to WrestleMania, right? I remember watching WrestleMania growing up. What's gonna be so spectacular about you being at WrestleMania?
Man, amazing. I'm about to have 100,000 in the palm of my hand, Deuce. Eating out the palm of my hand. It'll be dope, Deuce. I got YouTubers in my match. I ain't even worried about none of that. Cut this paycheck, Deuce. Hang out with my family, dog.
Well, listen, Mace. I don't have any more questions. Nick, I'm more mad at you because you keep bringing Saturday WrestleMania niggas here, and you don't bring us a Sunday WrestleMania.
Say less, Cam. I ain't got to be
talking to my
here.
producer, bro. You keep bringing Sunday. I need a Sunday WrestleMania. I don't smell what the Usos cooking, and at the end.
God damn.
He tripped.
Oh, Cameron. It's all good, baby.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is. This is a really fascinating first segment to the show.
Where was you at, bro?
I came over there.
All right. I ain't saying you done, bro. I just, my bad.
Cameron, bro. Hey, man. Hey, bro. Hey, man. It's probably not a good idea, man, to challenge, man, a wrestler like that, bro. This is probably not wise, big dog. Just want to say that. You know what I'm saying? Just want to make sure we on the same page, bro. Because right now, man, you kind of got your ass whooped a little bit, man. Again, I believe it was promotional. That's what it is, guys. But man, I mean, that's just that segment of it. He was mad disrespectful. I mean, mad disrespectful to main event Jey Uso. I mean, it was from the get-go, doc. From the jump. From the jump, yo. So, it's all good, man. But guys, man, that's the show for today, man. I hope you guys had a good time with me, man. It was kind of fun to put this last one together because I'm a huge WrestleMania fan. Huge fan, guys. Guys, real quickly, man. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. we have Real Estate Friday Live, guys. It's when me and Cliff, we get together, guys, and we chop it up about all things real estate. Man, I hate when it does that, man. My bad, y'all. I hate when it does that. I got to get that right, man. Anyways, guys, Real Estate Friday Live, guys. Every single Friday, guys, what happens is what we do is we look at real estate from a wise perspective, man. What in the world is going on here? It won't let me. Oh, man. Oh, well. It is what it is. Oh, well. It is what it is, guys. It is Real Estate Friday Live tomorrow at 5 p.m. CST, guys, on all platforms, including TikTok. Y'all been wanting to hear about real estate on Friday, TikTok. You get it tomorrow. We're talking about real estate and crypto, baby. We're going into rates too, mortgage rates, and what type of deals you should be buying, guys. It's going to be a good one, guys. Come kick it with Cliff and I, guys. Here is a little bit of a preview of Cliff and I when it comes to Real Estate Friday Live, guys. Here we go.
What's good, baby? It's your boy Dale. I'm back in the saddle again. Our motto is to buy, build. We already bought it already, so we already own it, free and clear. Refinance to long-term debt, cash flow. That is the motto. Cliff, man, is that a pretty strong motto, man? What do you think?
Man, the model is strong. Like, you're getting each piece of the invest, right?
Guys, that's Real Estate Friday Live every Friday at 5 p.m. CST. We took a little bit of a break for 2 weeks, guys. I take care of some business, guys, but we're back in the saddle again, guys. And also we wrote out another podcast, guys, that I may want to get you guys introduced to. It's called the Accountable Podcast, the interview series. Here it is, guys. Here we go.
One of the many questions that I receive is, Liddell, how do I get into those rooms? Well, this interview series is just for you. So welcome to the room.
We on now. They respect us cause we on now. Money up, run a whole town, don't we? This power money can't slow down. Money won't slow down.
That is the Accountable Podcast, the interview series, guys, that's coming out in about a month. We got a pretty cool special guest coming up. The first one, we got them all lined up, guys. It's going to be very, very much fun, guys. It's going to be called the Whiteboard Series. We're going to bring on the mogul guys, and I have some heavy hitters coming on. Heavy hitters coming on, guys. It's going to be very, very good for you guys to see. So, guys, that's all I have for today, man. Hey, do me a favor, guys. Like, share, and subscribe if you don't mind, guys, man. Come. If I can do anything to help you guys out, just let me know, guys. Oh, and lastly, if you ever want to holler at your partner real fast, I am on the app called Connect, guys. I'm on that app, guys. You're welcome. You're welcome to holler at me, guys, real quick. You can scan on the QR code. Let me do a little better, guys. Is that better? Here we go. Let's go here. Let's go here. Classic. Nope. Guys, if you want to just talk with me, guys, ask me the question about business, finance, marriage, the Bible, life. Hey, guys, you can reach out to me on Connect, guys. I'm on Connect. Scan on the QR code right here, or there's a link in the show notes below. You can ask me a question. It could be via video call, text message, even phone call as well. Also, video conference. Ask me the questions you guys want. You can scan on the QR code and come holler at me, guys. And that's all I have for today. But, guys, thank you so much for your time. God bless you. I will see you next time, guys. But you know, I ended every time before you leave while you can. You see that thing, baby. I look better than you. Take that picture for your mom and them. How it's partner. God bless you guys. See you guys tomorrow. All right, y'all. Peace. What's good, guys? It's your partner Dale here, man. Hey, I always say that when it comes to real estate, I think this is the best time. The next 3 to 5 years is the best time, in my opinion, to begin to invest in real estate. Whether you are a seasoned investor or a novice investor, this is the best time, in my opinion, to invest in real estate. Now, why would I say that? It's very simple. Whenever there is some stagnation within the real estate industry, that's the best time to get deals, right? Deals are what attract the capital, right? A good deal will always attract good capital. Now, what's a good deal? Well, I like buying distressed properties below wholesale. The skill to buying right is learning how to locate distressed properties in your city, county, or state. Now, the good thing about it is we are giving away a free ebook called Distressed Property Investing. We talk about different ways of locating distressed properties in your city, county, state, what to look for, who to call, things of that nature. It is free. Once you master this type of skill of locating distressed properties, you'll never be broke ever again because the good deals attract the right capital. All right, guys? So to get the free ebook, click on the link below, scan on the QR code here on the screen, or you can DM us the word real estate and my team will get you out this free ebook. Again, it's completely free. Just want to get you this information so you can begin to get the bag while buying real estate. Stay blessed and holla at your partner. Still working 40+ hours a week and still broke. Inflation's outpacing your wages. Insurance is insane, and your side hustle just isn't cutting it. What if I told you there was a way for you to build income by leveraging and using the exact same technology that banks and big corporations currently use right now, with no inventory and no tech skills needed? We have helped hundreds escape the paycheck-to-paycheck trap by sharing smarter services like lower cost healthcare, competitive auto and home insurance, better loan products, higher yield bank deposits, and even ways to cut energy costs, all in one place. Take this 30-second quiz to see if you qualify. Click on the link below or click on the link in my bio.
Okay, so you did fixes and flips first, or were they? Now it sounds like you're more buying whole. Okay, so you're wholesaling first. Okay,
because I was broke. I had no credit, I had no money, so I had to get some money coming in. So I learned how to do wholesale.
And you were doing wholesaling at the good time too. 2000. When it wasn't so saturated. There was.
I kind of saw the debacle coming. Okay, it didn't make any sense. I was like, wait a minute, how can you lend out to retail buyers 99.7%? Yeah, just a little bit of a down tick. It's insolvent.
And you got to remember, in some states, because I lived in Florida at the time, you could have loan to value above 100% of your property. Right. The first property that I bought, it was 110%. We left the bank with like $30,000.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
It was amazing to me. I was like, why am I not doing this all the time? But then clearly 08, 09 let me know why people shouldn't have been doing that all the time.
08, 09, that's why I made that lion's share of my money.
Wow. Okay.
Actually running from the cows, I was running to it.
Of course.
Because I saw it was coming.
Okay.
A lot of my business colleagues back then were buying flippers.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was wise for me to share 50% of my profit with Uncle Sam. He didn't do no work.
Okay.
So why would I give him free money?
Of course.
Okay, how can I make sure I'm still legal, but keep the lion's share of the cash flow?
Of course.
So I began studying the tax code with my accountants and CPAs, and I said, okay, I'm going to buy a whole lot of properties. Now watch this. I actually buy a lot of properties, and I take home money when I actually acquire it. Every single time.
Okay, you need to break that down just a little bit.
If you'd like to learn how successful real estate investors make money when they acquire real estate and not when they sell it, click on the link below, swipe up, DM me the word to real estate to download our free ebook, Distressed Property Investing. The blueprint is in the ebook. Stay blessed. I'll let your partner and download the ebook today.